Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by FreshBooks, the ridiculously easy-to-use cloud accounting software used by over 10 million small business owners. Try it free for 30 days at freshbooks.com/AAA. And by WordPress. WordPress powers 27% of all websites. Get 15% off your new website at wordpress.com/allaboutandroid. That's wordpress.com/allaboutandroid. Hello and welcome to another episode of All About Android. This is episode number 323, recorded on Tuesday, June 20th, 2017. We're your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Ron Richards.
Hello, Ron. And
Hello,
who
Jason.
are you, Flo?
I'm Florence Ion.
Whoa! I haven't seen those glasses on you before.
I don't wear glasses.
Oh, okay. This is a prop.
They are a prop. I've decided to wear them today to shield me from the sun.
I don't think they're going
And
to
the
work. They're
heat.
not sunglasses.
Well, you know what? It's helping me, so that's what matters.
I gotta say, Flo, you look like a 1970s talent agent. I like it. It's a good
Well,
look.
honey, I
It's a good
got
look.
you. Any work that you need to do, honey, I will take care of you.
Accounting, data entry, we've got it all. It's an honor and a privilege to welcome to the show for the very first time Steven Zimmerman, senior editor at XDA Developers. How's it going, Steven?
Good, yourself?
It's going great. It's really great to get you on. Not only you, but also get some representation from XDA, because we talk. We've talked a lot about XDA over the years, and had a lot of kind of the articles that you guys have written on the site, and especially kind of like the forums. The forums have come up a lot, and in our early days when we talked a lot about rooting and ROMing, we don't really talk as much about that anymore. But yeah, big fans of the site and of your work. Thank you for joining us. Tell us a little bit about what kind of I don't know, your experience writing for XDA, because you've not been there for a super long time at this point, right?
Yeah, I just started last fall, pretty much. It's been fantastic. It's there's always news stories to cover. There's a huge amount of just a huge level of can't think of the word. A huge number of things to cover that the developers are interested in. That well, as you can see on the screen, we got the OnePlus 5 launching today with a little bit of interesting news about it, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll
and
definitely
just
get into
constantly new stuff coming out.
Yeah, well, what I like a lot about the XDA kind of perspective is, a lot of the Android news sites kind of talk a lot about the same stuff, but XDA, when I think of XDA on the forum side, but also on the article side, I think of kind of a deeper kind of a connection to the technical layer that's going on underneath with Android. And of course, one of the articles associated with OnePlus 5 that we will talk about later is a prime example of that. You guys get in there in with certain devices, and you touch on the technology underneath in a way that a lot of other sites don't. It's a little bit more about users and ability and usability and the UI and whatever. You guys really get under the hood on a lot of this stuff, and I think that's kind of what sets you apart in your coverage. So.
Yeah, we definitely try to.
That's the goal anyways. So we're going to talk, we've got a lot, actually. We've got a pretty stacked episode this week. We're going to be discussing, of course, the OnePlus 5, which was announced this morning, Sony Xperia XZ Premium, which is coming to the U.S. Immediately, as far as I could tell, YotaPhone 3, or is it YotaPhone? I can never remember. Firefox Focus, benchmark cheating. That's going to be an interesting discussion. Bluetooth 5 mysteries, and a whole lot more. We also have, by the way, Victor, who normally edits the show. Victor is here as our TD today. Victor, thank you for stepping in Brian's absence because he's lazy, right? Brian's lazy. That's why you're here?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate you stepping up to the plate. Just kidding. Brian, I think, is away on vacation. He deserves
I think there's no. I've seen Brian on Instagram. He is indeed on vacation, and there's no one that we enjoy throwing under the bus more than Brian when he's not here. So, because he's not gonna watch this. He's on vacation. So
he'll never know. He'll never know.
Well, you'll have a lot of ammo this time around, Ron, because I'm gonna mess up a lot.
No,
No.
You got this, Victor. You got this. In fact, you know how I know you had this? Because you checked in with me earlier today to ask me about probably the single most apparently terrifying element of this show for anyone that fills in on it is the news bumper, which is coming up. Are you ready, Victor? Are you ready?
I think so.
Right now.
Oh, the news you'll hear on Android News.
There you go. See?
Bravo.
See, you got it. You were worried and you had nothing to worry about.
Oh, the news to hear.
That was a great first bumper, Victor. I'm sure Brian would be very, very proud if he was still with us.
Oh, thanks, Ron.
Bert gave you 7.5, I think, out of 10. So there you go.
That means a lot coming from Burke and Ron.
All right, Flo,
Victor,
you got
that was amazing. But you know what else is kind of amazing is when Hiroshi is just tweeting out random polls over the weekend, as he did this last weekend. I don't know if anybody was watching, but I think Hiroshi trolled us a little bit. Hiroshi, friend of the show, Lockheimer, on Twitter over the weekend. Did you guys see this little tweet? He said, "Urgent. Which one would you choose? Would you choose between peanut M&Ms, milk chocolate M&Ms, or Orangina?" And guys, I will tell you that I did vote, and I voted for the number one choice, which was peanut M&Ms, because if I could, every Android version would be named Android whatever peanut M&Ms.
So that you had that much reason to eat peanut M&Ms all the time?
Precise. I mean, that's my my take on that. But the other take is just that Google seems to keep trolling us about what the name of Android O is going to actually be.
Of course.
I mean, is it going to be Orange? Is it going to be Oreo? Is it going to be Orangina? Is it going to be peanut M&Ms?
I still think it's going to be Orange, but
I feel like peanut M&Ms is, we can eliminate that one.
unless Google does something really weird.
Next generation. Yeah. Come on. Remember, Dave Burke did talk about Android P when we talked to him, and also during the keynote, there was a couple of mentions. So maybe they're just fielding answers now to get prepared for the inevitable future of having to name all this stuff.
I still am putting my money down on a dark horse of Orange Sherbet. I like that as a name. I feel like that's a good name. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I think most people think Orange in and of itself doesn't have enough to stand on, but Orange associated with something maybe. Yeah,
I don't really think Orange as a dessert. I know Orange is a fruit, which could be a good snack, sometimes used in desserts. But if I had a nice dinner, and then afterwards, we cleared the table and the coffee got put on, and they said, "Oh, let's bring out the dessert." And they bring out a platter of oranges. I'd be like, "Oh, that's interesting." Yeah, it's gonna be that kind of dessert.
Okay, well, first of all, Ron, I like to put out oranges for my guests, so there's that. Second of all, one of my favorite things on earth is an orange chocolate cake. So I'm just saying.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's good. Steven, I'm sure you have opinions here.
They already announced it. It's the public. They announced it at Google I/O on day 2. Android O stands for "Oh no, we're out of time."
But you can't eat that.
That's a good one.
You can't eat that. That's not delicious. Man. That's stressful.
I also don't think it's going to be Orangina, because Orangina is a beverage. That is, again, it's not. I'm sticking hard to the desserts and the candies, and Orangina is a drink.
Yeah,
Orange Julius, maybe.
Orange Julius is really good.
Yeah, but that's very very region specific.
That's true.
Have we actually heard? I feel like, I don't know if I dreamed this or if this actually happened. So I need a reality check from you guys. But aren't there rumors that Sundar Pichai met with? I could have dreamed this, that he met with some big heads in the food world, Nabisco maybe.
Wait a minute.
Does Sundar Pichai meet with Big Food?
Yes, you start Chai meat with big food.
I seem to remember something, but maybe I had the same dream.
I'm just thinking about all these like Oreo variants that have come out. Like now we have Oreo Thins, and I think we also have like some other version of Oreo that I keep seeing advertised. So this is a good time for Big Oreo to like push its product.
Have you seen the firework Oreo ones for like Canada Day and July 4th? They got ones that with Pop Rocks built in.
Yeah,
Are you serious?
Whoever is the product manager at Oreo is literally going mad with power because there are all sorts of variations on Oreos now these days. There's mint Oreos, there's like thins, thicks, there's like all. I was in the store the other day and I was like a whole display of all the multivariant Oreos, and I was
chocolate,
like, listen,
vanilla.
In my world, it's just the standard Oreo, maybe a double stuff every now and then, and it stops there.
Stuff. Yeah, double stuff has been around long enough that it has to stay. But I agree with you guys. I think there's an Oreo conspiracy afoot, and I think we're going to see it come to a head once Android O is out on the streets.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, literally, if you go to Oreo.com, there are wonder-filled Oreos, chocolate candy. There's thins. There's like it's really they're out of control.
You're not talking about Oreos at that point. Oreo is the chocolate cookie with the stuff in the middle. That's what it is.
I would also like to everyone know that there has been a nationwide recall of Oreo fudge creams sold in the United States. So if you've purchased the Oreo fudge creams, there's a recall. It's a voluntary recall, but still. It's a recall.
Oh my gosh! Look.
Do you see? Do you see the alert? The alert right underneath the banner there. It says,
oh my gosh! It's so
alert.
Unfortunate. Oh, poor Oreo. Well, not poor Oreo. Why are you contaminating your food, Oreo? Come on.
Or I don't know if it's a contamination. It's voluntary. So if it's voluntary, maybe it's a
maybe it's just. Listen, you're better off just returning it.
Return your Oreos, everyone. Refund those Oreos.
All right. I think we still have no idea about O, so we can move on.
Of course not.
Well, what we also don't have any idea about, what we've been living in mystery about, is the conspiracy theory behind Bixby from Samsung, specifically around the voice functionality in Bixby. And everybody with Galaxy S8 has been anxious to see Bixby actually work as it was promised. And Samsung rolled out an early access program for United States Galaxy S8 owners interested in giving the voice functionality a try, but unfortunately, it's full. So if you were to sign up for this, you get due to overwhelming response, and there's no date for the full release yet. Have we heard of anybody actually getting in and seeing the voice capabilities working yet? Have we heard about that, or is it just people submitting?
It's just signing up with your Samsung account at present. And I got a weird update, by the way, overnight on my unlocked Galaxy S8. So I'm wondering if, I don't know. I tried to use Bixby. It didn't do anything besides what it's supposed to do, which is launch that little screen, that little app.
Yeah, besides what it's done, which is not the whole thing. Yeah.
The opening of this pilot program, it's a little limited. It just feels like a way to maybe satiate those of us who are just really eager to get our hands on Bixby. By the way, can I just quickly add that I was reading through an old Google blog post yesterday for the little Google Play music deal that they have going on with Galaxy S8 users. And there was a mention of Bixby being launched in the spring. And I was just like, tomorrow's the first day of summer, by the way.
My goodness, how fast things change.
Officially, Bixby has not made the springtime release date. It's summer tomorrow.
No. What were you going to say, Stephen?
That's far from their longest delay. Samsung Pay in Canada was supposed to be out, I think, a couple of years ago, and it's still only on one single bank and only in a beta so far. It's not officially out still. Yeah,
that's a bummer because it's really useful. Sorry.
Well, it's not quite as useful in Canada as it is in the US because you actually have widespread NFC adoption up here. So Android Pay and stuff like that actually works well, and we've had banking apps that do the trick as well. But it still would be nice.
What's it like living in a forward-thinking country? sorry. JK, America.
Where are you? If you don't mind me asking, where in Canada?
I'm based in Toronto.
Based in Toronto. That's right. Okay. Nice. Yeah, so I was able to sign up for the Bixby early access, and then today, of course, when I was dropping this into the dock, realized that it was totally closed. So I imagine, once they open it up for those people that signed up, you will probably get like an email of some sort. This is now you can try Bixby the way it was intended. But of course, this is all. Part of it is about awareness. Like, hey, you remember that thing we promised to you? We promise it's gonna come. And another part of it is beta testing it for the U.S. market. So,
you guys, it's gonna. I bet. I'm very positive about this and very optimistic, and I kind of bet that it's gonna be worth waiting for. Maybe.
You think?
Yeah, why not? Why can't I be positive about this? I want to be. I want to feel like the wait for this will be sorry, I keep shaking the screen. That the wait for this will be completely worth it, because I am just imagining this thing that does something extra that Google Assistant can't offer me, and so that's what I'm holding out for, people of America and the rest of the world.
We'll see if Samsung can deliver on that promise. Do you?
We shall see.
Do you have hope for this, Stephen? Have you had any, do you have the S8? Have you played around with the S8 and with the Bixby the way it is currently? And what do you think? Uh-oh. I think you're muted.
Your voice disappeared, Stephen.
Sorry, yeah, I was muted.
That's all right. A ghost stole your
voice.
voice.
Play with Bixby yet. I haven't even I've seen the S8. I've used it a little bit, but I haven't had a chance to play with Bixby yet. All I've heard about it so far really is the constant fight to remap the button to other things, and Samsung blocking it and it getting remapped again, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, you guys have written actually, and definitely I've seen posts about remapping that. But yeah, Samsung has been defeating that. Is that right? They've been going in there and demanding, no, this is just the Bixby button. We don't care how you want to use the device that you bought.
Yeah, I think 2 or 3 times so far, people have gone in, found a way to map it to something else, usually Assistant, because that's the one that's out right now.
Right.
And then Samsung's released the security patch a little bit later and blocked it. And then someone finds a new way and then it gets blocked. And that's how it goes.
I did the same thing with guys back in college. They would just try and not.
Wow.
I don't know.
Wow. Wait, let's play this one out. Let's see where this goes. Hang on, guys. Let's hear her out. Let's hear what she's got to say. Please, I'm listening, Flo.
This door has been open.
I was just trying to relate to the fact that, you really want a guy to call you. He keeps blocking your number, so you keep changing your number to get through or trying new phones. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. All right.
Strategy with the Bixby button. No, honey, you want me. You really, really want me.
All right. I see where you're going.
I never saw a Bixby going there, but hey. Now I'm convinced Bixby might actually be useful. We'll see. A new way to interact with your phone. Don't know if I buy that statement because I feel like we already kind of interact with our phone in similar ways. But there you go. Samsung wants you to think that, and we'll see if they can convince people of that. We have an email from Dan March, who wrote in also about the Samsung Galaxy S8. Said, I recently read an article that the Samsung Galaxy S8 has the capability to broadcast to 2 or more Bluetooth devices at the same time, which to my dismay, I recently discovered that other devices do not do, including my Pixel XL running Android O beta. I was wondering if you 3 wise folks, make that 4, know of an app, or better yet, if Android O will have this capability. And loves the podcast. Keep it going. Many thanks. Which I feel like when we talked about the Galaxy S8 on the show, we probably didn't. If we mentioned it, it was very brief. But I think this is one of the first devices that can broadcast to 2 Bluetooth devices at the same time.
So you can do a party, like a Bluetooth speaker party.
Yeah, or say you're sharing a device and you both want to watch a movie on one device, you can send it to 2 different Bluetooth headphones, and or whatever. Like a couple of examples are 2 different speakers in the room. And I think there's been a lot of kind of, I don't know, a lot of articles written about how that is a feature of Bluetooth 5, but I don't think that's actually the case. And I know I was tweeting about this a little bit earlier, and Steven, you actually replied. It was actually that when you replied, I was like, oh, that's right. I need to get him on the show. So, I mean, I guess my question is, how is Samsung doing this with the Galaxy S8 if it isn't an inherent part of Bluetooth 5. Do you happen to know the answer to this? Maybe I should have prepped you on this first.
Yeah, no, I did a little bit of reading on it. I'm not 100% sure. It'd have to reach out to Samsung themselves. I mean, obviously, it could just be two antennas and a little bit of software, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we do know that Bluetooth has the ability to connect to multiple devices at once. It's not the first time. Like, we have workarounds for multi-device Bluetooth streaming where it'll stream to one device and then hop to the others via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. And there's all these workarounds to try and achieve the same thing right now. So it's possible, but I don't really know for sure.
Right.
And yeah.
And actually, JJ in the chat points out that, an app that we've featured on this show a few times, I believe, at this point, Amp Me. I think, Flo, you had it in the arena, and I know we've shown it off. I'm guessing it won because it's a really great app. Allows you to connect to different devices at the same time, but I don't know if that's necessarily the same thing. That's not like send the audio of this to two different Bluetooth speakers, one in the kitchen and one in the front room at the same time.
Google Home can do that, but I just imagine that it does that like through your Wi-Fi network.
Yeah, it's doing that through the Wi-Fi network and balancing and syncing it up all in its own process. Bluetooth 5, though, I thought, we probably didn't talk about this very much when it was kind of being announced and everything. Promises 4 times longer range, 2 times higher speed, 8 times the packet length, and it's only supported if the Android device hardware specifically supports Bluetooth 5. So, Dan, to answer your question, will this be a feature in Android O that might upgrade your Pixel XL to do dual audio streaming? I don't believe so. I think your phone has to actually have hardware to support Bluetooth 5, let alone the dual audio mode that might not even necessarily be connected to Bluetooth 5 explicitly. If you want to check out a really good video, I found a video by Gary Sims from Android Authority. You can search for him on YouTube, and you can find a video. He dives into a little bit of an explainer about the details behind this, basically pointing out that this assumption that Bluetooth 5 has new features that support dual mode is actually not true, because all of the audio is still passing over Bluetooth Classic, which has been handling audio streaming since, I think, Bluetooth 2. So it's the same technology. Maybe Bluetooth 5 speeds things up and makes it a little bit better, a little bit more capable from a throughput perspective. He does a better job of explaining it than I do. So search for Gary Sims, Android Authority, and you can see his explainer. It's a pretty good kind of walkthrough on it. But I think that's pretty cool feature. I'm guessing more phones would support that, because I don't know who doesn't like a nice party for their music from one phone to many speakers.
I love a party. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially with the increased range that Bluetooth 5 is supposed to be bringing.
Right.
If it helps a little bit with keeping the signal strong across multiple rooms, that can be a major enhancement to the ability to do things like that.
Totally. Yeah, that's one of my biggest bummers with Bluetooth is like I'll send it to a speaker or whatever, and then I forget that I have the phone in my pocket, and I go to the other side of the room, and for whatever reason that's too far, and it starts kind of crackling and breaking up and everything, and that just makes me not want to use Bluetooth. Because
my favorite thing about Bluetooth is when it acts like a CD player of yore. So, for instance, I'll be going for a walk, and if my phone is shaking and whatever little bag I have on me, the connection will start to sort of lose in my Bluetooth headphones. And the same with my car. If I go over a bump, be a little skip in the music.
See, that's no good.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I haven't really bought into the Bluetooth headphone thing yet. I know, Ron, you're all about it.
I am. I just think it's the future. I think that
It is.
I think that the protocol will evolve. Changes like this, these enhancements, and kind of it's going to smooth out a little because it's going to move in that direction. I think that what they've done with Bluetooth LE was a good step in the right direction, although it's got a lot of limitations and a lot of kind of problems. I think that's why we haven't seen that kind of move as aggressively as it is. But I am fine with the headphone jack being gone, because that's where the headphone jack needs to be gone to free up more room for the devices and to have other stuff in there. So therefore, the protocol has to get better it's just progress. It's going to happen. You know, like the first trains were a very bumpy ride as well too, Flo. But now you take that Acela up to Boston, it's a smooth ride. So.
You can take trains around. Man, I wish we did that in California.
You can tell I've been on the East Coast a while now.
Yeah, exactly. Let's take a break and thank the sponsor of today's episode. That is FreshBooks. FreshBooks is the sponsor of All About Android. And I mean, let's face it, if you have to bill clients and everything, you know that the process can be painful, it can be time consuming. It doesn't have to be. Stop chasing your clients. You can save time and know where your business stands when you're using FreshBooks. It makes the whole process super easy. FreshBooks' all-new version of their cloud accounting software will make running your business easy, make it fast, secure. Their newly improved platform was developed by a small team of 10 using design thinking and lean UX processes. The FreshBooks dashboard gives you quick access to your spending, also your outstanding balances, total profit, and accounting reports like sales tax summary and profit and loss. You can create professional-looking invoices on the go. You can send your client an invoice right from their office using your Android device, using the FreshBooks mobile app, and you get paid by the time you get home. You do it on the way, and you get home, hey, you've got some money. Isn't that nice? With FreshBooks Payments, your customer can pay straight from their invoice. Invoicing clients online is actually going to help you get paid an average of 11 days faster. You make it easy, you make it frictionless, and people will do it quicker, and you get your money faster. See what invoices have been sent, viewed, and paid, as well as outstanding invoices. Make it really clear. The kind of clarification is there, so you know exactly what you're looking at. You can say goodbye to paper receipts because no one wants those. Picking up the tab for a client lunch or buying supplies to start a new project, you just snap a picture of the receipt and capture your expense in seconds with your Android device. You'll never miss an update. Use the FreshBooks mobile app from your Android device, and you'll know exactly when a client has viewed their invoice or when that invoice has become overdue, so you can always stay on top of your business. And you don't want to miss those billable minutes, so you'll never miss them. You can easily log or edit your hours from your Android device using the FreshBooks mobile app. And you can also start a timer directly from the FreshBooks mobile app for Android, so you can always have an accurate log of the time that you worked. FreshBooks is adding new features and improvements to their platform on a weekly basis. They're always putting new stuff in there for you. It's no wonder they were included in the Forbes Small Giants list for 2017. So you can try it for free for yourself for 30 days. All you have to do is go to freshbooks.com/AAA and enter All About Android in the How Did You Hear About Us section. Make sure and put that in there so that they know that you heard about it on this show. And we thank FreshBooks for supporting this episode of All About Android. FreshBooks is awesome. You should definitely check it out. freshbooks.com/AAA. All right. It's I think this is the big news item of the week for sure, probably because it just happened this morning. But it's time to dive into hardware. And Flo, you got the big one this time.
Geez, guys, this is pretty big, huh? This is kind of like the big, well, I take that back. It's the second biggest summer release because remember, we still got a Note 8 coming out, hopefully in a few months. But anyway, the big bahooligan or whatever the word is.
Some people would agree the big hooligan when we're referring to OnePlus.
I don't know. I made up some word bahooligan. The OnePlus 5 was announced today, everyone, this morning. Maybe you watched the little event that they had online. Maybe the sun is really on my face right now as we're doing this, but we're going to keep on going. So inside the OnePlus 5, there's an octa-core Snapdragon 835 processor. You can get it in either 6 or 8 gigs of RAM, which we will talk about in a second. You can get it in either 64 or 128 gigs of storage. It comes with a 1080p 5.5-inch AMOLED display. So yeah, a little, smaller resolution than the other 2K stuff that's out on the market. But remember, boon for battery life, especially when you consider a 3,300 milliamp battery that's inside. Unlike some other phones that are coming on the market, this phone still has its headphone jack. It's got USB Type-C for charging. It's got a fingerprint sensor on the front, hilariously, where Samsung used to put its fingerprint sensor. And it's got a 16-megapixel rear-facing camera along with a 20-megapixel rear-facing camera. So you've got dual cameras that are working in tandem to sort of deliver you this nice picture. Unfortunately, no optical image stabilization, which I don't know. It seems that there's some reviews out there that are a little dubious about the smartphone's real performance in the camera realm. But, beyond that, you are getting a near stock version of Android on this thing. It's got Oxygen OS, which is based on the regular Android ASOP. It's got some additional tweaks and features. Also, just so you know, if you're choosing between the two sizes, there is a $60 difference, which isn't that bad when you think about it. So for $60 extra, the starting price being $479, you get the 8 gigs of RAM plus the 128 gigabytes of storage. But do you really need that RAM? The answer is no, not really. Not really.
You might think you do.
No, you don't. You might think you do, but you don't. I mean, unless you're, I don't know, powering a ship off of your smartphone, which if you are, please call us so we can bring you on the show. There's, you might find that maybe it's good for future proofing, but at least you're getting the extra 64 gigs of space if that's something you really need. That's something that's hard to come by, especially since the OnePlus 5 does not have an expansion slot. That's not happening with this model. Also, pay mind to the fact that the 128 gigabyte version is the only one that comes in that sort of pretty matte midnight black color.
I missed
that. The reviewers were sort of like showing off today in the Android blogosphere. This phone is on sale June 27th. So you've still got to wait until next week to sort of bring this one home. But if you're interested in it now, I mean, you could pre-order it, kind of go check it out.
They're not doing any of those shenanigans, the invite shenanigans that they've done in the years past. I think they've moved on from that phase of their existence. They don't do that anymore.
I think they had something about a invite code, an early drop code or something like that.
Wait a minute. I think I actually got that email now that I think about it. I got it while I was super slammed here. Let's see here. Maybe I can find it real quick. I think there was some sort of a code.
Well, just so you know, if you are considering the OnePlus 5, bear in mind the fact that the software on this phone is pretty much maintained and controlled by OnePlus, and they haven't yet committed to the monthly security updates. They didn't really commit to it last year either. So that's just maybe something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I mean, this was actually interesting. Ron Amadio in his rundown pointed this out. He said, take a look at the OnePlus 2, which was released August 2015 with 5.1.1. It was upgraded to 6.0 2 months later. That ended up being its last update, even though OnePlus had promised an upgrade at some point to 7.0. They just announced a few days ago that that's not actually happening. So when you look at it through that lens, basically you got 2 months of updates, essentially, which is not very good. Not very good for a device to get 2 months of updates. Granted, it was from 5 to 6, but if it just stops there, that's pretty shabby.
It's they're not calling it the flagship killer anymore, so
I think
thank God.
Yeah, I think they shoot themselves in the foot when they make such a dramatic declaration about their device.
There's that to consider.
There's that. Ron, are you impressed?
I'm slightly impressed. I like that it's a sub $500 phone. I like the price point. I like the I like the specs and all stuff like that. I mean, it's really, close and squint your eyes and look at it. iPhone, OnePlus. I think that's really kind of comparing. I saw a couple of comparisons of the iPhone and the OnePlus 5 side by side, and it's really startling how they are making it like almost to the point like, are they trying to fool people?
There you go. I mean, that's it right
yes.
there. That's the side by side. Block out the logos, and it's really hard to tell.
The Google Pixel guys also looks like the iPhone from the front. I mean, that is the whole ruse. That's the whole way to sort of get. I think it's I think it's just a strategy.
No, but this isn't something new for OnePlus. I mean, if you look at the last year with the OnePlus 3 and 3T, it was a spitting image of the HTC M9.
That's true.
I had the device right here for a substantial amount of time, and if I wasn't that familiar with it, I wouldn't have been able to tell them apart other than the logo.
Yeah. I mean, is that just an indication of how same the industry is on design? Like sometimes I look at these slabs and I'm like, how unique can they actually be without, but then you look at this side by side. I mean, damn, that's like,
until
like
we start
spitting
building,
image almost.
Yeah, until we start putting smartphones like in our wrists, I think they're all just gonna like kind of
blur together. Yeah. Now,
I'm sorry. After you.
Go.
I think once you look past the fact that they're a massive screen on the front end, they actually do look a decent amount different if you look at the different phones that are out there. Like the HTC 10 versus Moto Z or something versus, I don't know, the OnePlus 5 or the iPhone 7. They are substantially different beyond the giant front screen.
Right.
And there is more variance. The S5 looked way different than anything that's on the market right now. And you still can do that. You just have to actually put the effort into hire the creative people that can actually design that and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and take some risks. Be okay with taking a risk, like Essential, for example. They're doing the bigger display, less bezel, but the kind of the cutout on the front camera. That's a risk that I think there are a lot of phone companies, they wouldn't take that risk. They'd be like, heck no, we're not doing that. That's different. not because it looks bad. I know, Ron, that's actually a characteristic that you like. Not because it looks bad, but just because it's not proven. That, you're making a big gamble when you put a device out and you do differentiate from what's proven. You're putting a lot of money on the line to make that choice. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, Stephen, we have you on at just the right time because back in January, you wrote on XDA, I think you were the first to write about this, about how you and the folks at XDA had kind of looked into this benchmark cheating thing that was happening. That had happened a few years prior. I remember talking about it on this show about how there were I can't remember which OEMs were caught kind of fudging the numbers on benchmarks.
Many of them.
Pretty much all of them.
It was just kind of a thing that they did.
Yeah, it was pretty much all of them back in 2013. You had Samsung, you had HTC. I don't want to name the rest because I don't know off the top of my head the rest.
Right.
But pretty much everyone was cheating back in 2013. And they had conversations with Anantech and Geekbench and a lot of industry people. They saw the backlash from consumers not being so happy about being lied to. And eventually, most of them did stop. In fact, for a while, we didn't hear anything about benchmark cheating in the phone space, because this has been an issue for decades in the PC space.
Right.
But in the phone space, we didn't hear anything about it for a couple of years until this kind of brought it back into the limelight.
Yeah. So then in January, you and the folks at XDA, kind of discovered that OnePlus was essentially doing this. In fact, your headline, Benchmark Cheating Strikes Back, How OnePlus and Others Got Caught Red-Handed and What They've Done About It. So OnePlus was caught doing this. What exactly were they doing then, and how does that translate to now with the OnePlus 5?
So at the time, and this was a big part of why this was missed at the time, was because it wasn't on the global handsets yet at the time. It was on the development builds for Oxygen OS, and it was on Hydrogen OS, which is the Chinese-only ROM. So a lot of the devices that were in reviewers' hands and stuff didn't actually have the benchmark cheating yet, and we just happened to come across it because we were testing the development software. What they were doing at the time that was a little different from now, actually, a big part of it that's the base of both of them is that they were targeting specific apps in order to boost up the clock speeds when in those apps. Back in January, they were just boosting the floor a little bit and making it scale up faster, which created almost no performance boost in Geekbench. You saw, I think it was like less than 5% performance boost despite having to actually actively target which benchmarks you wanted and all that stuff. But in this current round, they're doing it a little bit more aggressively, and it's causing a substantially larger effect. They're straight out pumping the clocks way up to maximum. I think we had a graph on the article showing the difference in the clocks on the one that we published today. It shows that on a regular run of Geekbench without the cheating active, which was done using a special application provided by Geekbench that essentially doesn't look like Geekbench. I think if you scroll down a little bit, it shows that there's. Oh, sorry. This is the old one. Sorry, actually, on the today's one, you have on a regular run, it's only hit maximum clock speeds. I think it was 24% of the time, which I mean that's pretty standard. You want it to clock. There we go. You want it to clock down. You don't want it at the maximum speeds. You want it to be power efficient when it's not doing much. It's having to clock up and down in response to load takes a little time and slightly reduces performance because you have to, wait for it to clock back up, but you save a ton of power. So instead what they're doing is when they're detecting that's a benchmark app, they're just setting it to pretty much go to maximum almost right away. Now, thankfully, the Cryo 280 cores that are in the Snapdragon 835, which are based on the ARM Cortex A73 cores, are fantastic at sustained performance, so it doesn't heat up too much when doing CPU-intensive apps. But in GPU-intensive programs, it gets ridiculously hot. It hits 50 degrees Celsius, which is 120 something Fahrenheit, I think. I don't know the conversion. But it gets pretty much too hot to comfortably hold. I remember my HTC M9 got up to low 40s, and that was enough to make my hands sweat a little bit when playing games with it. At 50 degrees, you're looking at pretty much have to put the phone down temperatures. And thankfully, unlike last time, thankfully they are seeming to be taking it beyond just benchmarks. They are targeting a couple of specific apps as well, which kind of gives them some plausible deniability. But at the same time, that list of apps is temporary. If the apps that people are using change in the future in, say, 2 months, if the updates stop after that, they're not going to get the new, those new apps are not going to be on the list. They're not going to get the higher performance settings. They're not going to see the questionable benefits of having the higher clock speeds. But there is a way around it. And I think Mario brought this up in the article. And actually, Samsung and HTC and some other OEMs are already doing this to some extent. And what this is they can have an app on their phone, like Samsung Game Tools or HTC's Boost Plus app. And Samsung and HTC are using it for the opposite thing. They're using it for improved battery usage. But they have a thing where you can pick apps, and it's coming up. And you can, for Samsung and HTC, you can run them at lower resolutions in order to save battery. If OnePlus wanted to do this properly and wanted to actually provide performance boosts for specific apps rather than just benchmarks, what they should do is they should make it user accessible, make it clear that specific apps are being boosted, and let you choose which apps you want to have boosted. If you want, whatever game your choice to be boosted, which, again, you're losing a lot of battery life for a marginal performance bump in this case, let people select which games they want. In 3 years, when whatever the next version of whatever game's out now comes out, it's not going to be targeted by their hard-coded boosting. But if you give people the ability to pick and choose which apps are boosted or decreased if you want, like HTC and Samsung do, then you really create a useful feature for the users rather than just attempt to cheat and boost the benchmarks up a little bit to get just that top spot.
Interesting. You're the right person to talk about this.
Benchmarks are I just don't find them to be as necessary as maybe they did maybe they were necessary in the PC days, maybe they were necessary in the beginning days, but they are certainly not necessary now. And this thing is just sort of, it's really disappointing because it fumbles with the consumer experience in the end.
Yeah, and I think probably like the two things that stick out for me is that one, enthusiasts are buying this device. Enthusiasts are the ones that would actually care about this sort of thing. And two, probably didn't even need to do it anyways. I'm guessing what's underneath is fine. Like what kind of
Snapdragon 835
big improvement do you get out of boosting it, comparatively? Like what small percentage? I have to imagine it's not much, and it's going to get discovered. The hardware's still good, but there's the kind of the ethical choice behind it, which, as we're talking about it, OnePlus has had a lot of snafus over the years that involve kind of their ethical choices on how they run their company. This is yet another to add to the list.
What's the board? How many days since there's been a OnePlus marketing disaster? We're on 30 days or how many days? No, but yeah, I mean, like OnePlus has definitely come a long way. Yeah. And if this is what we're talking about in terms of that sort of thing, I think these are the right conversations to have versus take a selfie contests and things like that.
Right.
And that's actually a good point. There's so many things that they could be putting the money into rather than trying to develop cheating methods. They could be putting it into improving the camera software. They could be putting it into having the devs work on the OS updates instead. They could be
security updates.
Any security updates.
Sure,
exactly.
Please.
Yeah, it's a really good point.
But going back to what Flo said, I think you actually touched on a very important point here. Benchmarks seem to be taken as something very different than what they should be taken as. They're not the be-all, end-all of what phone's the best. As you were saying, the OnePlus, without the cheating, still is like a top 3 phone, like out of everything out so far in terms of multi-score performance on Geekbench. And that, of course, the actual performance goes far beyond just what the processor performs. It goes into how the software operates, what type of lag you get, if you're getting frame drops, all that stuff that goes far beyond what just the benchmarks say. But at the same time, the benchmarks are an important tool. They give you an idea of how the phone's performing, how the phone's clocked relative to other similar phones with similar processors. If a phone's scoring really low, that's not necessarily a bad thing. They could just be clocked very conservatively in order to increase battery life. So it kind of gives you a feel for how the phone's set up.
No, I agree with you, Stephen. You can use, benchmarks can be used for some very good analysis of the phone. But I just mean in the sense of like the enthusiast community just really feeling like this is what validate, I don't want benchmarks to be what validates the existence of a phone. Yeah. And I think, I feel like it's time we got to move on from that. You know what I mean?
I think that's actually what's causing a lot of the backlash against benchmarks in general. I mean, we saw even some tech writers going and saying, oh, it doesn't matter because benchmarks shouldn't matter. But the only reason why it's looked at like that is because people take it and put it as something more than it is.
Right. It's very true.
It's an important tool, but it's not everything. It's one part of the conversation.
Yeah.
It's a great way to also gauge maybe how software is, affecting the overall UI, or if there are maybe just too many layers of whatever going on under their head. Yeah, I agree with you. Benchmarks need to be used for good, not evil. That's what the TLDR of this conversation is, really, because you just talked about all the very good reasons to use benchmarks, and we need to use them for good, not evil.
Yep.
Amen. And with that, let's talk about a different phone.
Yeah, let's talk about a much different phone. And you guys all know I love the wacky approaches to phones, or the innovative approaches and things like that. And YotaPhone is a company that I always enjoy whatever they have to offer up. And we got to give them credit for continuing to be committed to making the dual screen work. This time we've got the YotaPhone 3 that was teased at Harbin's China Russian Expo last weekend. And this phone's going to have 64 or 128 gigabyte of storage, cost around $350 to $450. And according to a source to Engadget, they noted that it's basically a newer model with bigger screens. So a 5.5-inch 1080p AMOLED and a 5.2-inch 720p e-ink screen, powered by Snapdragon 625. The same one that's found in the Key One, the Zenfone 3, and Moto Z Play. It's going to have Nougat. It's going to have fingerprint sensor on the front, USB-C, no headphone jack. See, if YotaPhone's going no headphone jack, that it's the future.
Then it's the future. Yeah,
what
totally.
did that
Exactly.
say?
And it's due around early fall, which is around 4 years after its previous phone. So I love the fact that they are very committed to that e-ink screen on the back of it. YotaPhone just cracks me up. I love it. This seems very interesting. What do you guys make of it?
Good.
I love that YotaPhone still exists, I guess.
Yes.
I mean, hey, listen, guys, it gets really cold in Russia, and all that snow in Russia, when the sun is out, it really reflects. You can't really see your screen. So that's what the e-ink is for. It's for the cold Russian winters.
It's a survival tool. The YotaPhone is a survival tool.
Absolutely. It's a survival tool for survivors. And I want one because I want to be a survivor. Darn it.
It's great to see that something different's being done, but the question is still, what market are they aiming at? I mean,
it's always been the question for YotaPhone.
Who's this for?
Even if you just look at the screen, I mean, I'm not sure which is that the old YotaPhone or is that's not the current one?
It's got to be the old one. Yeah.
Hence the Vine app.
Well, Vine, you got some old games on there. You got the old navigation ones.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because if that's the new one, that's seems to be some very old software being advertised there.
Sure.
We're doing really cool things with screens, but it's running Jelly Bean.
Yeah.
But
and also an older kind of design approach, to the phone itself. I really want to see photos of this new phone to see how it looks, how they've implemented the e-ink screen. If it's evolved in 4 years, I got to imagine it has, right? So
one would hope.
It's been 4 years.
Really.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
By fall, when this would come out, it will have been close to 4 years ish since the previous. So, just surprised they haven't just moved on. 4 years is a long time.
Well, I just have to.
Have they put anything else in the meantime?
That's a really great question. I actually don't know.
I just have to say, as we close out this segment, I'm very curious anyway, just about the phones that come out from Russia, because it's such a different smartphone market than what we have here. Is very curious. It's very curious.
I'm wrong. I think it was 2 years, not 4. 4 sounded long. So
I could have sworn. Yeah.
YotaPhone 2. I got that wrong. That's my fault. 2015. So my apologies on that. I was like, man, 4 years is a really, really long time to have a sequel.
Yeah, it is a long time, Jason. 4 years is a long time.
Thanks for punctuating that flow. I'm picking up what you're laying down.
People were saying it's going to be the. I think they were saying it was the 626.
Yeah, it was the 6. Where is it? 625.
625. Okay, 625. Well, it's still interesting to see because 626 is out already, and we got the 630 coming out soon, which should bring a nice little bump to it as well. And I think you'll start hitting phones around then is what it should be from what I've heard. So to go with essentially a generation earlier processor, although really 2 models earlier on the same line is interesting. Are they having delays with producing it? Is it just because I don't think it's going to be cheaper to use the older processor, so it brings questions.
I was thinking maybe it would be cheaper. I was thinking it'd be cheaper, especially considering the market it's selling in. I mean, it's selling to markets that aren't, it's selling to markets that are still sort of emerging in a sense. Not the same way we think of emerging markets. I just mean
certainly, yeah.
Well, even the fact that it's mid-range is interesting in and of itself, because I think the last YotaPhone was a bit of a higher end processor, right?
Wasn't it like Snapdragon 810 or back in the day?
Back in the day, I'm scrambling quickly to find it.
I think it might be an 801 or something.
Launched with Lollipop.
Yeah.
By the way, we saw it initially at Mobile World Congress. Yeah, I'm not seeing what processor based on the single. No. Snapdragon 800.
Yeah, so 800.
It was an 800.
So that's a high-end processor at not necessarily in 2015,
Back in the day.
but when it came out.
Yeah.
And I don't think Qualcomm drops the prices per processor that much over the time. I think they kind of price it, from what I understand, they price it by where it fits in the lineup. So if someone's using an older processor, it's usually going to be because there's some delays or something, which does make sense for a smaller market phone, but it's always something to worry about when you see delays in something coming out, because it means something's going wrong.
Yeah, right. What is
or
the
they got
trade?
like a bulk deal or something where they said, hey, if you can wait until we're done with these phones, we'll give you this stuff at like whatever, 15% off.
And you can
That's
do
how I
your
would
weird
sell
little dual screen phone thing that you really want to do.
Well, 'cause that's the thing. The production capacity doesn't, for the chips itself, doesn't stop being used. It just moves on from being on the flagship phones into being other processors. Like the 28 nanometer, I think it was, were they using TMSC at the time for the 800? I believe they might have been. I think they're still now using that for the 400 series or something like that. And you're seeing it in other, being used in other product categories as well. The 20 nanometer process is still, maybe not full speed, but it's still being used substantially. It's just cheaper to use now.
Right. So hopefully, Ron, that'll be his next phone. Will be the YotaPhone 3.
Doubtful, but I'll still enjoy it.
Maybe your next phone, if you don't get the Essential, will be Sony's high-end Xperia XZ Premium device.
Oh yeah, sign me up.
Totally.
Finally brought to the U.S. via Amazon and Best Buy. 3 months since it was first announced. But it's finally making it, so give them props for actually bringing it to the market. Just as a refresher, 5.5-inch 4K display, Snapdragon 835, so top of the line processor there. 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gig storage, micro SD, 3230 milliamp hour battery, which you'll burn through quick with a 4K display probably. IP68 protection. 19 megapixel rear-facing camera with 960 frame per second slow motion. So it's got some standout features, or features that make it kind of stand out in a crowd compared to some of the other phones out there. No fingerprint sensor though, as a reminder, because Sony has this weird thing in its US phones where they can't include a fingerprint sensor. What is that? It's some sort of contractual thing. Do you happen to know, Stephen?
There's a way around it. You can flash over to the European firmware, which is fairly easy for the Sony devices. And it's the official firmware. It just enables the fingerprint sensor. I actually did it for my Z3 in order to get the faster updates, because the European firmware was getting, I can't remember which version it was, but it was months before the Canadian version was.
So what you're saying is the device is released in the US with a fingerprint sensor. It's just not usable. It's not functional.
I'm not sure about the XZ Premium, but for some other previous Sony phones, it has been.
Oh, weird.
As for why it doesn't work, I don't think they publicly stated. There's been some speculation that has to do with patents.
Yeah.
About having the fingerprint sensor on the side of the device, and them not having a license agreement in the U.S. with whichever company holds the patent in the U.S. There's speculation that Apple bought the company that had the patent and it's causing problems, but I haven't seen anything concrete.
Okay, but I really like that, though, because that adds a little drama to this. So I'm going to go with the dramatic speculation, even though it's totally rumor mongering.
Well, I think there was a patent that was published a couple weeks ago that had been filed back in like 2015 for something to do with it by Apple. And it just came to light recently.
Bleak in the chat room says it's legit. So if Bleak says it's legit, it's legit.
I was going to say, Ron has the fingerprint on his phone.
Oh, on the side. That's right. The next bit has it on the
side of the next bit. Yep.
Oh, even before that, you go back to the next bit, Robin Ball. So you go back to the Moto Atrix, the company that used the fingerprint sensor that was, the phone that used the fingerprint sensor from the company that Apple bought originally. It had the fingerprint sensor like pretty much on the top of it.
Oh, that's right. I completely forgot that. The Atrix did have that up there. I remember at the time it was so you just weren't used to seeing that. So it was like, okay, well, that's neat.
Well,
But
no,
that
who
is
puts the fingerprint sensor on the top?
It was the fingerprint sensor, it was the power button. I think it was a swipe one also. So
yeah, it was a swipe one.
Yep,
it was a swipe one. I remember that.
Yep.
This Sony phone, by the way, $799 if you're game, Ron.
Amazon and Best Buy. Those are. Let me run out right now.
All right.
No, thank you. Yeah. So. But I will tell you what I will run out right now and get. That's a website powered by WordPress, and we want to thank them. We want to thank them for their support of All About Android and sponsoring this episode. And we know that creating great things definitely comes down to having the right support system. I know that I've been creating great things for years, and it's always because of the support system behind me. And that's why we're excited to have WordPress.com as a sponsor of All About Android. And listen, we use WordPress.com every day. All right, I use it literally every day for multiple websites. And whether you're looking to create a personal blog, a business site, or both, it'll make a big impact when you build your website on WordPress.com. And listen, even if you don't have experience building a website, WordPress can guide you through the process and make it so easy to make awesome, powerful, impactful websites with just a couple of clicks. They're amazing. They have hundreds of themes that get you started. All you got to do is pick a template, and then you can make it your own. You'll get built-in search engine optimization and social sharing. And when you build your website on WordPress.com, you're part of a community with support 24/7 when you need it. And let me tell you, there have been numerous times where I've needed it, and that community has always been there for me. I love WordPress so much. So come see why 27% of all websites run on WordPress. Let's take a moment and sit back and think about that. 27% of all websites are on WordPress. So clearly they're doing something right. And why more websites run on WordPress than any other platform. The proof is in the pudding. Check it out. Get started today with 15% off any new plan purchase. You can go to WordPress.com/allaboutandroid to create your website and find the membership plan that's right for you. That's at WordPress.com/allaboutandroid, and you get 15% off your brand new website. Start today. What are you waiting for? We thank WordPress for their support and for building a great infrastructure for us to build websites on. And personally, I thank you for keeping my sites being as awesome as they are. Thank you, WordPress.com.
Thank you. WordPress.com/allaboutandroid. Excellent. Okay. We've got some apps. We're going to rattle through some apps before we get to the arena. Let's do it, Victor. Of course, you're the editor. If you really wanted to, you'll be like, I'm going to make myself look good. I'm going to tighten this up. You've got all the control in the world, Victor.
It's true.
Well, another group of folks who can tighten things up and make them look good are the folks over at Mozilla. As Firefox is bringing its privacy-focused browser to Android after first releasing it on iOS late last year. Firefox Focus blocks ad trackers, erases browser history, passwords, and cookies by default, and it's designed for quick searches. There are no tabs. Ironically, Yahoo is the default search, and that makes sense because Mozilla has a long-term agreement with Yahoo. But despite that, new features for Android version include a disable ad blocker button for when sites don't load properly, and there's also an ad tracker counter. So they're really focused on the user experience. And Mozilla, I know a couple of folks who work at Mozilla. Their whole thing is that they want to make using the web beautiful and seamless and great. So they're very pro user, despite that Yahoo deal. Jason, you got it there in front of you. Are you impressed by this browser?
Well, I think actually there's room for something like this where you just want to, we're so used to Chrome being logged into our account, tracking, and then, monetizing all of our searches, our search history with ads and everything. Sometimes you just want to open up a browser and do a search and you don't want to affect all that. Fine, you open up Firefox Focus, and as you can see, all you get when you open it is a single bar in the center, or at the top in that case, because I'd already tapped into it, that you just enter in either the address or the item. Let's go pants. Sure, we're searching for pants.
Go on.
There we go. LL Bean, Flo.
Wow, it's the first one, huh?
Yeah, your favorite.
Oh, look, a sale on pants at H&M.
Oh, see? Aren't you glad you did this without tracking anything?
Yeah.
And you can see up here a little search or a little switch for toggling it on and off. I mean, I think there's a place for a browser like this. More and more people are becoming aware of, I don't know, of their kind of history online and wanting to control it a little bit more. So why not have a, kind of a simplified browser that is really kind of hyper-focused on protecting you from, being tracked all over the darn place. So, I don't know. I think it's kind of neat. It's got a nice design. You can change the default search, by the way. It was Yahoo by default, but
yeah, but you can always change that. Yeah,
you can make it whatever.
What is
you want.
DuckDuckGo, y'all? I just saw that in there.
DuckDuckGo is a independent search engine actually that Gina Trapani turned me on to a couple of years ago.
DuckDuckGo is great.
If you're looking for an alternative to Google or Yahoo, DuckDuckGo is really, really interesting and fun to use, and it's very effective.
Well, I mean, the thing about DuckDuckGo, it is entirely security focused. They don't track any of your searches. They don't monetize it with ads, anything like that. So their whole purpose is to exist in this non-tracking world and to anonymous search essentially. So they're good for that. But yeah, it's a good looking app.
It's cute. I like the gradient, the color scheme too. I think it's nice.
It's definitely a good design for sure. Yeah.
And every time you come out here, you see this little toast message down at the bottom that says your browser history has been erased. Like every time, it's just by default. You come here, it erases wherever you went. So
you are no person. You are no one in this browser.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Yahoo partnership with the purchase by Verizon for Yahoo.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Oath.
I don't think they've officially say what's going to happen going forward for either just Yahoo in general.
Oath. It's going to turn into Oath, whatever Oath is.
Big question mark. What happens to Yahoo? What happens to Tumblr? What happens to Flickr? It's all kind of up in the air right now. So
I think we already know what's happening to Flickr, and it's not.
Sadly, we do. You're right. I guess there's a lot more people worried about Tumblr. I think of all things. You
guys, Flickr died. I could hear Flickr have its last breath at this year's Google I/O keynote after the Google Photos announcements. I was like, "Ooh, that's kind of it, y'all."
Flickr's last flick. It fired off its last flick, and that was it.
Oh, wow. That was really poignant. Yeah. That was beautiful.
Just let it soak in for a minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was beautiful.
It's summer solstice. I get deep on summer solstice.
Wow.
So Chrome Dev Channel app. I forgot that this app existed. You can get Chrome for Android, the Chrome Dev version, and you get kind of more of a cutting edge kind of things that they're working on that they'll eventually push out to the stable version. And if you open it now, you see a different kind of UI. You see all of your controls and stuff down at the bottom. Thought this was interesting.
Interesting.
Swipe that up. All of my and I think the idea behind this is that it's better for a big phone world, right? Like everything that you need is down at the bottom where your thumb can reach it, instead of always being up at the top and you always.
That's where it should be. I mean,
I have massive hands. I can reach all the way to the top of even a 6-inch phone, no problem. So it's not a huge problem for me, but it'll be an interesting shift in the UI. It'll be interesting to see how it affects the whole experience, especially with how close it is to the navigation buttons. I'd be worried about accidentally hitting the buttons below a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a little bit of that room. I mean, as you would anything that's down there at the bottom. But yes, you run the risk of going for home and accidentally hitting the back button for sure. I don't know, this little slide thing, I'm still trying to understand.
I like it. Give it a chance.
Well, but I guess the bigger question is, how will this do if and when this gets pushed out to all Chrome browsers? Well, because that's a big change based on what we've been used to, just pretty much our apps in general, especially our browser apps, with everything being down at the bottom instead of at the top. Do you think it'll be received well?
Yes, because the way that Chrome is now it's not very. I don't like the actual interface of Chrome. I use it because it's Google Chrome and I've got the account synced in, and I like to have that, seamless transition from device to device. But navigating it and using it and just, months will go by and I forget that I've had the app open for months and that there are 30 tabs open from God knows how long ago, just sitting there in the background. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so true.
I like this.
Well, yeah, and I think this is a good evolution of user interface, right? I mean, clearly, we're seeing a lot of movement towards the mobile browsing kind of experience, with AMP and a lot of the kind of optimization stuff that's going on mobile versions and that sort of thing. And it's neat that, at least the Chrome team is looking at it from the app level and just, also given, the size of phones and things like that, moving all this stuff down to the bottom where your thumb is and where you're naturally, navigating with the back button and with the home button and things like that. I think it makes sense. I think this is a good evolution. Because I think the natural, I don't say lazy, but the historical view was having a lot of those hamburger buttons and settings and things like that being the upper left or the upper right. But when you think about it, that's making less and less sense now as we're evolving as users of mobile devices.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Flo, you got the fun kind of patenty forward-looking one.
Well, yeah. I mean, Google essentially just filed a patent to help turn that frown upside down. Literally, that's what it does. It's not new news, but I mean, it's interesting, especially because we were just talking about, the immediate death of Flickr or whatever is going on over there. Google has filed a patent that it eventually will turn frowny faces in your photos into smiley faces. And the way it does this is it'll look at faces that were cached and it'll basically flip them. So it'll go find that person that it probably maybe already identified a while ago and go, okay, Anna is not smiling. Anna needs to smile. Because in this world, we always smile. There are no bad days. There are no bad things. We have to keep it going with a smile on our faces. This is what we're headed towards, people.
Totally.
Wow.
Totally. Victor, actually, if you scroll down a little bit in that article, you'll see a post from their filing that kind of illustrates it. Keep going. Yeah, that's not from their filing. That is. So
yeah, it also helped with blinked eyes.
Are you sure the impact font lion theme meme photo wasn't part of their filing?
It could have been, but it's not.
Well, you can do that right now with programs like GIMP and Photoshop. It's just having it automated and hopefully working well will help with the workflow of it a bit. And I think it'll tie in well with the photo books.
Right.
Okay, but I'm going to be really curious, though. Sorry, I was going to be really curious, though. If I have, like, a pimple or something on my face, like, is it going to cache that pimple? Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, they already try and kind of fix that with something. Not necessarily Google Photos yet, but, I mean, you look at pretty much any major phone, they have some beautify feature for the front camera.
Yes.
They don't work so well.
But then I also wear lipstick.
The fashion magazine filter.
Yeah, beauty mode.
Yes, which I love beauty mode. But then I think about I wear different color lipsticks like on a daily basis. So what is it going to choose me with a magenta lip when I'm supposed to be wearing a red? Like that's going to make me there are a lot of things that go into this, guys. There's a lot more nuance to this than just swapping out features on your face.
I have a really good feeling that Google could pull this off. Face app, which we've had in the past, will take a normal face and impose a smile on it. And the way it does that is also through the same way that Google would do this. It matches skin tone. It matches, angle of the face that's in the photo. It matches all of these things. The amount of light that's hitting the skin and blends it all together. And it does a really good, effective job of making photos that didn't have smiles suddenly have smiles. I totally see this as a feature rolling into Google Photos as an auto, suggestion. Oh, hey, we turned that frown upside down. That might be what they do when they show you these things. They say that exactly.
And then I'll be like, leave me alone. I'm an emo kid. All of my pictures are of me frowning.
Keep in mind, they don't have to be actually taking the old photo and pasting it in. They're looking at what you look like when you're smiling, and they can transform the picture itself by shifting things slightly, changing the lighting a little bit, changing the white balance, changing all these little things to make it look a little bit different than what it did before.
Yeah.
It's like those apps that you find in the Play Store where you can essentially go in and it'll make little markers around your lips and then you could just move everything ever so slightly until eventually you have morphed yourself into a happy smile.
Because all we want to be is happy 100% of the time.
This is like out of a dystopian science fiction novel in Brazil or something. Yeah. We need to shake this off. We need to.
No, Ron. We don't need to shake this off. This is the rest of the show. No, I can't do it. All right, it's time to shake it off. It's time for the arena. Go, Victor.
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
All right, I was out last week, so I want to see the results here. So it was Privacy Screen Guard and Filter, Patternator, and Defense Zone 3. And who had Privacy Screen Guard and Filter? Because they won.
Ron.
Ron,
that was
you
me.
won. 53%.
That was me.
Naturally, Ron won.
I don't want to be too cocky, but going into that arena, I felt really good about that app, and I'm glad to see that the viewers agreed with me.
And I couldn't even demo it, so
Yeah.
I mean, really, it spoke for itself.
It did well even with a demo fail, but yeah, no, that it was a good win. And luckily, Wade County is in the chat room with the standings through 24 weeks, and with that win, that puts me firmly in first place with 71 points. Jason, you were, despite not being here last week, you were in second with 62 points, and you were tied with the guest at 62 points. And unfortunately, Flo, you didn't take advantage of Jason being out because you got a big last. You only got 1 point, so you're sitting there in fourth place with 58 points. So there you go.
I'll catch up.
You catch up.
We've
You
still
can.
got the
Just think,
summer.
honestly, listen, if you think about it, the difference between you and I is like 2 wins and a second, and you would be in first, right? So you can do it. It's good. You can make it happen.
The difference
Still early. We're only halfway through the year, so.
I'm just realizing I'm going to have no breaks with which to post the Bitly thing. So
Shall we do it now?
I'm scrambling to just log in. If I can log in, then I know I'll be able to do it in between apps. I've been at the Schrodeo before. Okay, I'm good. I'm logged in. Let's go.
What was that about Victor being the editor?
No, Victor, keep it in. Keep it in. This is gonna be hard today. This is good. All right, Flo, you are first up. This is your chance for redemption, and I've got your app installed, so I'll show it off while you talk about it.
So I work from home, and sometimes I really just need to turn off my mind, and sometimes it's very hard to do. So what I like to do is get like a fun game that I could just sort of like jump in and out of whenever the occasion rises. One game I've sort of found to tickle that fancy is called White Trip. And I'm going to fire it up over here. Actually, no, I'm going to watch you do it because otherwise I'm going to be super distracted if I try to do both things at once. So this game is, it's basically just an endless runner, and you could play it 2 different ways. You can play it by moving your finger on the screen the way that Jason is doing in this demonstration, really, or by tilting the phone. This is the much easier way of doing this. And this game, all it requires is so Jason, you need to keep going after those white birds that you see in the sky, because those birds are going to give you the energy that you need to keep flying forward. Okay. And if you don't get enough of those birds in a row, you're going to lose your energy and fall down. And you also, and I apologize, this does have ads, although you can unlock the ads for, I think, about $1.49. And so this is the first level where you're going to learn how to fly through. You're going to go after these birds. It's this very pretty, calming app. And I thought, don't jump into the buildings. You have to make sure to avoid the buildings. You can move up and down throughout the scene too. So you can be in the sky getting the white birds to help carry you through. You're going to have to maybe lower down. I know the ads are a little annoying, but, but if you're just jumping in and out of the game, it's really not too bad. It's just, again, an endless runner. And I just thought it was sort of, I thought it would be funny to bring into the arena because this is a game all about winter. And I'm currently sitting in 92-degree heat.
That is funny.
Yeah.
That you're suffering in 90-degree heat. I'm sorry.
No, it's
because it's not fun.
It is what it is, but this is White Trip. It's a really calming game, a nice little melodious soundtrack, very easy to play, to get in and out of. It's not a game that you're going to find yourself playing every night, but it is definitely the kind of thing that you could just sort of like jump in and out of, especially if you like to beat your own high score.
Oh, I'm getting better.
Yeah, I found I was getting a lot better too. And the way it happens is every time you get a bird, like it'll give you a bit of a thrust, and then you're sort of moving with the wind that's blowing because you're in a snowstorm after all, and you've got to get all the way to the other side to keep moving through. There you go.
No. Sorry, I threw it there at the end.
You did.
Oh no! What is going to happen? I'm going to run into this tree.
Honestly, if you guys have some extra cash in your bank from Google surveys, it's worth it to unlock it, to get rid of the ads and support the developer.
Awesome. I like the game a lot. It's called White Trip. It's got its own style to it for sure. And yeah, check it out for yourself. It's free and you can pay to remove the ads. Let's see here. I guess I am up next. Okay, so Rory is a fan of this show. He's been a longtime fan, actually. He's been here since the early days following the show. He's also a developer, and he sent us a link to his app. So I thought, hey, let's show off his app in the arena. He just released it. It's actually pretty cool if you like podcasts, which I'm guessing you probably do because you're listening or watching one right now. And if you want to wake up in the morning to your podcast, you want your podcast of choice to be the thing that wakes you up in the morning, you want to hear our voices first thing in the morning, that'll work for some of you. That won't work for all of you, and I understand. Then you should look for Unrely Alarm. Get it? Unrely Alarm. So let's see here. So earlier I set up an alarm around Pocket Cast for 2:48 this afternoon, even though I called it morning. I just did that to set it up. But basically, I can go up here and I can set up a new alarm. Let's go ahead and set up AAA. We set the time, pretty straightforward. What time is it right now? It is 7:12 p.m. So I'm going to go 13 p.m. Let's see if I can race through this. Set target app. I'm going to go Pocket Casts. Where did I just skip it?
Up at the top.
Up at the top. There it is. Oh, I see. Recent. And then save it. Okay. So now at 7:13, when that turns 13, I'm going to turn off my screen and we'll just, kind of hang out, and maybe at some point you'll hear it, and I hope we don't have to wait too very long. But you can set up a bunch of different of these alarms, a whole number of them, have them set for different times, different days, repeats on a Saturday or Sunday, or repeats just during the week. However you want to set it up, you save it, has a nice kind of material design flow to it on the design itself. And you can also set this...
It's getting more and more of a global thing as the world gets smaller, as...
All right. There you go. Lars Ulrich.
Nice.
Talking and Talk is Jericho.
Oh, no one wants to hear that.
No one needs to wake up to Lars Ulrich.
No,
for sure. But there you go. At the right time, the time that I set for my alarm clock, I wake up to a podcast. Maybe you set this for like your news of the day app, whatever that happens to be, NPR or BBC or whatever, and you kind of set that so that the thing you wake up to very first in the morning is, whatever the news is of the day. It's a kind of a nice new way to, set your alarm.
Where did the name come from? Unreliable isn't really what it looks like on an alarm.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. It's a good point. I honestly, I don't know, but it is what it is. There you go. So then, there's very few installs on this. 10 to 50 installs right now. But
wow.
Hey, I think I've wanted to wake up to very specific things to listen to. You can make this music, you can make it podcasts, whatever you want. You just choose the app and set it up, and you're good to go. Unrely Alarm, wake to podcasts and music. It's in beta, so if you download it and you use it, keep that in mind. But it's worth checking out. There you go. All right, Steven, I have your app installed. Now, there were two in the Play Store of yours, so I'll let you talk about yours. I went with the Pixel one because I'm running a Pixel. So that's the one that I have, but go for it.
There's two versions of, I'm going to be complete homer here. My app is the XDA feed because XDA Labs was already on here once before.
It's true.
XDA Feed, right now it's available for the Pixel and the OnePlus 3 and 3T, although you can install it on any device. And what it is, it's a feed of all the latest news and articles and wallpapers and ROMs and a bunch of different content for that device. It has voting so that people can say what they like, what they don't like, in order to try and give people the content that other people are interested in. And you can have complete control over what is shown to you. There's extensive notification controls, which we're going to see come to Android as a whole in a little bit with the notification channels. You can turn on literally any part of the app you want, turn it off. Very privacy focused. And soon it's going to be on more devices. This hasn't actually been announced yet, but I can't give a deadline because I don't know the deadline, but it's on its way right now for all devices that are on XDA. And people will be able to upvote and downvote whatever content they feel is a good fit for what they're looking for, whether it be wallpapers, new apps, especially with focus on indie apps. You can star items to check them out later, and just a whole bunch of other stuff focused on whatever device you're using or want to look at.
Nice. I'm going to set that as my wallpaper on my home screen. Sure. And wait for it. There we go. Oh, yeah. Nice. So, okay. So I have to ask. So XDA Feed is the name of the app. You have one for Pixel XL. You have one for the OnePlus 3 and 3T. And coming for all devices that you cover on XDA, that's an insane amount of apps, right?
I don't know the exact layout of this. I need to speak with the dev, but I don't
want to reveal too much either. But
I don't actually know this yet because, as I said, I have to ask Jeff. I don't know. Jeff is the lead developer for XDA Feed. He's very active on the forums under the name Blackjack. And I'd have to assume, although again, this is a guess by me, I don't actually know, that it's going to be one app and you pick what device you have.
Got it. Okay.
But for now, it's based on what device it's available for.
Nice. That's great. It's a great way to kind of keep up to date on everything that's happening about your specific device, which, I mean, is a big reason why people go to XDA, because they have a device, they want to get the most out of that particular device, and it's a great way to do that.
One other great thing about it is that it's completely independent of the Play Store. You can download it directly. You're not going to have any extra stuff you need to download. You can download it from XDA. I don't know where else it's available right now. It's definitely available in XDA Labs, and it'll run.
Nice.
There's no reliance on Play services type thing.
Nice.
Which is a bit of a pain for setting up the notifications on the back end, but they're working now, and it's all good.
All right. Yeah, it's designed really well. I love that it kind of brings the color from the image into the design of the page itself. It really is. It's really done very well. Looks great. So that is XDA Feed. If you do a search for XDA Feed in the Play Store, which is where I found it, but you can also find it on the XDA site and download it from them directly there. Fantastic stuff. I love it. Thanks for showing that off. Ron, it is your turn. I have yours installed. Tell us about it.
Cool. Excellent. Yeah. No. So, folks, for the long-time viewers and people who follow me know that I really do enjoy movies as a medium, and I'm always looking for a good app to help me track movies and keep track of the movies I want to see, as well as get insight on the movies that are out and things like that. Came across this app, which is weird. I don't quite understand the unreleased status in the Google Play Store, but Cinetrack is in the Google Play Store, and the title says Cinetrack Your Movie Diary (unreleased), but you can download it. So to me, that seems like it's released. So I don't quite understand that. They're listed in Google's early access program, but this is a great heavily material design app that allows you to browse movies, both that are out in theaters as well as that are out on DVD or Blu-ray or whatnot, and basically lets you kind of get kind of IMDb like information as far as the cast. But if you scroll up a little above that ad, unfortunately, you can see there, here's where the real power of this comes in, is that it's directly connected to the Tracked.tv community, which is kind of another kind of user-generated ratings. But there, next to the Tracked.tv community, you've got the Rotten Tomatoes score, you've got the IMDb score, and you got the Metacritic score. So if you're looking to get a sense of how good a movie is, those are really, Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, and Metacritic are the three places I always check. It's great to see them all in one place. So you get all this information about movies, but then what you can do with Cinetrack is you can keep track of the movies you've seen. So if you kind of scroll up, there should be an action button to add to it. I don't know where I see that on my app. I don't know why you don't see it on yours. But basically you can tell movies that you've seen it, right? Go back possibly or whatnot. Anyway, I don't know quite what I see, but maybe because I'm logged in. If you're not logged in, you can't.
I'm not logged in.
That's the difference. Okay, there it is. Once you're logged in, each movie has a floating action button where you can add it to your list and say whether you've seen it or not. You can give it your own personal rating, and then there's all sorts of data that they keep track. So it keeps track of how many hours of movies you've seen, what genres you like. It's all this kind of we're all data nerds now. It's fantastic to get kind of like our viewing habits tracked really closely in terms of what movies we watch. So it's pretty cool. The only thing I wish it had was a little bit of like Just Watches functionality, or for movies that aren't in the theaters that might be available online, what services I can get them on. But hopefully they'll add that down the road, as this is a early access app. But the design is great. I've been using Flickster for years, and the design of that is so old and broken and all that sort of stuff. I don't care. I care less about movie times and more about just whether or not, what the ratings are and what, whether or not I should see something or not. And this design is just great. They did a great job in this app. So it's Cinetrack, your movie diary, great material design. If you're into movies, this is a great place to keep track of your movie viewing. And so there you go. And at least for me, I can't tell you how many times I hear about a movie and I'm like, oh, I want to see that. And then I'm getting older, it just goes in one ear, out the other. Yeah. So it's nice to have somewhere keeping track of like, okay, I want to see this movie. I want to see this movie. And then saying, okay, yes, I saw it. And then being able to remember what I thought of it. So do not see The Mummy.
What was the Rotten Tomatoes on The Mummy?
17%. Not good. Not good at all. So
see, they needed to release that movie without the music score and just the sound effects and fully. If they had done that, they would have had a winner.
Yeah.
Cool. I like the layout of this a lot. And then you've got
it's really, really good. Really impressive. Really impressed me. So, and also you notice that there are a lot of ads in the app. If you sign up for an account, there is an in-app purchase to you can do that there. You get premium access down at the bottom, and they've got different levels. It takes away all the ads. It adds in a bunch of curated lists, and you could choose the level you want to support at. Starting at $2.99, going all the way up to quite a bit. And the app is funded by the users, and they do make a point of that. And at a certain level, kind of like Kickstarter and other things like that, if you go at the $20 or higher, your name is actually in the credits for the app, which is pretty cool as a contributors list. Yeah, so pretty cool. So yeah,
nice.
Cinetrack, very cool.
Cinetrack, your movie diary. All right. So Victor, just so you know, I had to go with AAA vote. 323. So it's a little different. Last week's was AAA poll. So anyways, bit.ly/AAA vote 323. If you want to vote for your favorite app of the week, is it White Trip, Unrelialarm, Pixel, well, actually XDA feed is probably the way to go on that. I think that's what it's in the poll is anyways. And Cinetrack. Bit.ly/AAA vote 323. Place your vote. We'll check in on it next week. What will Victor go with? Victor, oh, no way. Going with Unrelialarm. Enjoys waking up, the idea of waking up to a podcast. And I enjoy having Victor along because he voted for my app. No, he didn't.
I'm sure that podcast is probably all about Android.
Probably. Right. After you edit it. After you are TD for the show, and then you edit it, and then you wake up to it. That's how it goes,
I'm just glad you listen to Talk is Jericho also.
Oh, okay. Hey, I do sometimes. Yes. There's some of the interviews I could care less about. Some of them I really like. But yes, it's a good podcast. But that's it. That's all we got. Jam-packed episode. And Steven, really appreciate you hopping on, especially because it was kind of a last-minute ad. When you hit me up on Twitter, I was like, hey, we should get him on. So thanks for dropping everything, canceling your plans this evening to join us. Here. Really great to have you. So tell people where they can follow all the work that you're doing and what they can look forward to.
Well, of course, you can find it on xdadevelopers.com. My Twitter is right down there, @IM92. I post all my articles up there and occasionally retweet some other articles from other sites or other people on XDA. And I haven't had too many over the past couple of weeks, but should be picking it back up again shortly. Been focusing a little bit more on the editing stuff and other stuff like that.
Right on. Cool. Well, Stephen, we appreciate it and love to bring you back sometime whenever you're not doing anything. We'll reach out to you and get you back on the show. It's a lot of fun. Appreciate it. Flo, what about you?
What about me?
By the way, I got very used to Flo with glasses during this episode.
No, Flo, I really would like Flo to represent me in a lot of my acting endeavor now. I really know that she can get me these key parts that I'm missing out on. If you team up with Flo, she'll help you.
Oh, you guys have no idea how many more glasses I've ordered from AliExpress. So anyway, you'll see those come out from time to time. But until then, you can just find me at Twitter and on Snapchat at OhThatFlo and read what I've got to say at AndroidCentral.com. Also, I will be playing with the OnePlus 5 really soon. So if you've got any questions about it as a phone, maybe even in comparison to the Galaxy S8, let me know. I'll be here.
She'll be here.
I'll be here.
You know where she'll also be?
I'll also be on the new screensavers this weekend. So if you've got any questions about the OnePlus 5 or just any Android questions, or maybe you just have a question about life, I love answering those questions. I'm sure Leo does too. You can email us at newscreensavers@twit.tv. Do that and watch on Saturday, please.
Yes. Make sure and catch that episode with Flo and Leo this Saturday. Ron, what about you? What are you up to?
Yes, so as always, you can follow me over on Twitter at RonXO. That's where I'm tweeting about all my various things, and those include but are not limited to iFanboy. We're over at iFanboy.com, where every week we're talking about comic books as well as comic book movies and TV shows. We just talked about Wonder Woman recently. We're going to be talking about Spider-Man Homecoming in about a week or so, or 2 weeks maybe, 3 weeks. I don't even know what day it is. But yeah, a lot of fun over there at iFanboy. Check that out. And then, of course, my other podcast called The Damn Fine Podcast at damnfinepodcast.com, where me and Tom Merritt are digesting and analyzing the new season of Twin Peaks on Showtime. We are a third of the way through. We just finished part 7, which was possibly one of the most Twin Peaksy episodes yet of this new batch. It was a ton of fun. And actually, our guest on the most recent episode was Daniel Abraham, who is one half of the writing team behind the Expanse book series, which I know is very popular in the Twit office. You might want to tell Padre about it, because I know he dug it. But it was great to have one of the co-authors of one of my favorite book series, as well as the inventor of the series that went on to become a TV show, to have him on my podcast. That was really a really high point for me. So please do check that out. It was a lot of fun. So
right on.
Yay!
Thank you, Ron. Victor, it's your turn. What about you, sir?
Hey, as Jason said, I edit and TD over here at Twit. I don't really have.
It's okay.
Any public facing.
I'll have you all know that Victor's my Pokemon trader. We trade Pokemon cards, and it is one of the highlights of coming to the Twit office is trading my Pokemon cards for the online codes with Victor.
See? There we go. So if you want to trade cards with Victor, no, we don't have a public facing thing for Victor. But Victor, thank you so much for always editing the show, and of course today for hopping in and being TD.
And thank you for being my Pokemon provider and
your Pokemon dealer.
Pokemon dealer, yeah, exactly.
Supplier.
Yes.
As for me, you can find me at jasonhowell.net, yellowgoldmusic.com. Definitely coming along on the album at this point. It's like really
awesome.
I don't know when I'm going to have when I'm going into the next stage, but I'm on a roll right now, so I'm really stoked, and I hope sometime this summer I'll have more news on that. But
think about the album party that we're gonna have for you at
the
very
an
end.
Album party? That's too much pressure. So much
it's
pressure.
okay. I'll throw it. You won't have to worry about any of it. All you have to worry about is making an album.
All right. I will worry about that. And I will let y'all know about it because it's been a long time coming. But that's it for this week. Always appreciate you guys stopping by for All About Android, either live or in podcast, however you enjoy it. Thank you. Leave us a voicemail if you want to get involved with the show, 347-SHOW-AAA. You can send us an email or video mail, AAA@twit.tv. You can find us on Twitter. We're at Android Show. We're on Reddit, twitaaa.reddit.com. Show notes of past episodes, of course, found on our site online at twit.tv/AAA. That's probably the most important one. You can go there, subscribe to the show from there, find all the information you need. You can also find us on YouTube, iTunes, Pocket Cast, anywhere you find podcasts. And you can catch us live every Tuesday, live starting sometime around 5:30 p.m. Pacific at twit.tv/live. That is it for this week. We'll see y'all next week on another episode of All About Android. Bye, everybody. Whee!